One morning, in the living room, I see my parents looking out the window. I want to see what's out the window, so I step over and I kind of have to lift myself up on the windowsill and look over down onto the ground, and I see a line of men all walking the same, and they're wearing the same clothes. And in the background, I can hear the radio playing, and I can hear my mother crying. But this wasn't one of her normal cries. After this day, everything changed. I didn't really know why, but my father was gone a lot, and my mother just seemed upset. I would find out from my father many years later that he was gone visiting the U.S. consulate in Austria. He had received an affidavit from a man named Mr. Rice. This had a blank spot on it where Mr. Rice would claim whoever he was sending this letter to, he would take care of them once they came to the United States. The only problem was there was one blank for Hugo's name, his father. So he had the choice to either save himself, his wife, or his son. And this wasn't good enough for him. So every single day, he would go to the U.S. consulate, begging them to amend this. Please, I have my own affidavit. Help me get my wife and my kid out. It took him an entire year, but he never gave up. Eventually, we all were able to leave under the cover of night for Paris, France. We made it up to Southampton, England. We were going to catch a boat. Our departure had been planned for a long time, but because it had taken so long for us to get our visas, we missed it. I remember on the dock seeing dozens of people just looking out at the ocean where their freedom should have been sitting. It was really lucky that we didn't make that boat. It never made it to the United States. On its course, it was sunk by German U-ships, and there were 0 survivors. If we would have been on time that day, we wouldn't have made it here. Once we made it to the United States, we stayed in New York for about a year. We lived in Delaware after that, in a lovely little Jewish community. Everybody knew everyone. I would go to the park with my friend after school every day, and I would take my little sister with me. I can remember coming home from school, and I would still be walking up the stairs or heading down the hallway, and I could just smell my mother's cooking already. I knew that when I got up there, she would be handing out meals to our neighbors and our community members. And I knew that I also would be carrying my own shipment around the neighborhood to people who couldn't come get it themselves. I got really used to this idea of delivery boy. You know, I would also go to the post office with my father every week, and we would take this heavy box of food. I didn't really understand what we were doing. It was wartime, and every single piece of food had to be bought with a food stamp. I remember going to the store for my parents, and we didn't have enough on our own. So why were we sending extra food to another country? My father would tell me his story, that our family escaped, that his siblings were still stuck in our home country, and that whatever resources he had extra, he would use to take care of them. I didn't know we had escaped. I just thought we lived somewhere new. And it wasn't until I was a teenager that I really understood what he meant by this. We were going through Thailand, New Jersey. It's a small farming community for people who had been liberated in Europe. there were plenty of farms, fruit, vegetables, there was milk, but my father sees a fresh egg sign and says, "That's what I want." So he goes in. He was gone for quite a long time, and me and my mother didn't really think much of it until he came back out, and he was broken. The woman inside running the farm had been his sister's bunkmate in the concentration camps. This woman had watched a German soldier give his sister a poison pill and send her off to the gas chambers. That was the day that I truly learned that my family did escape something horrific. And I realized that being a delivery boy wasn't just my role when I was a child, but it would be on me to deliver my message and my story for the rest of my life to make sure that this never happened again.
Maddi, I want to thank you first of all for what you're doing and to tell you how important the work is that you and your fellow students are doing, because you're perpetuating the story of the Holocaust. Once we're gone, the survivors, it's going to be the same. It's very, very important that the story continues on. The motto of us, the volunteer at the Holocaust Museum, is never again. It doesn't just 2 words. And what we need to do is to talk to as many people as we can, the new generation, and tell them what they can do when it goes unchallenged. Because they can lead to terrible things happening, which we see happening all over the world even today. And it's so sad that we haven't learned from history. So thank you so much for your doing. It's very, very important that you continue this work. And I'm very, very proud of you, Maddi. Thank you so much.